What is up, you guys? Pete DiCarlo here, and on Monday, I made a video called Easy Money Selling Neo Puts. I actually made a great profit on that play, and I want to talk about today what happens in a worst case scenario of selling puts. You guys all know that, if you go ahead and you sell puts, you're probably going to get stuck purchasing the shares if it closes below your strike, or you're going to have to sell out and take the loss. But I want to talk about something else that you can do. This is also going to work with put credit spreads, call debit spreads, calls, straight up calls, although it's not going to be as lucrative. So I want to talk about that in this video. If you guys have no understanding of what selling puts is, what put credit spreads are, what debit spreads are, you have no idea about any of that, or you don't even understand options, you can go onto my channel, just like click my little face down there, and you can go to the playlist that's options. It will have all of that within that playlist. Definitely check it out, because the things that we're going to be talking about in this video are extremely powerful. And the thing is that 90% of people who trade options lose money. That's true. So just don't do what they're doing, right? This is what the 10% of people who are trading options are doing. They're selling puts, and this is why it's so lucrative. So let's just talk about it and give you guys a bit of a refresher. So in the video on Monday, I highly recommend you go check it out. We talked about Neo. We talked about selling puts on Neo. We talked about how there was a strong support at $38. And we talked about how I thought that there was no way that Neo was going to end up falling down to $34. And even if it did, I don't care. I'll just buy, a ton of Neo shares at $34. So in the case of me believing this with my bullish thesis, I decided to sell some puts for this Friday on Neo for $34, which means that if Neo closed today above $34, which it did, my max profit was going to be something around $225, and I had to put up about $10,000 to do that, which if you think about it, that might sound like, wait, you got to put up 10 grand and you'll make 200 and something dollars. That's a 2% return a week. You do 200 or 2% return a week every single week. That's almost 100% returns in a year. And if you go on a compound, interest calculator, that's like millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars 10, 20, 30 years from now. So overall, I thought there was no way Neo was going to fall below 34. Now, if it fell below 34, I'd be forced to buy $10,000 worth of Neo stock at $34 a share. So if it closed at $34 today, I'd be even because I'm buying them at 34. If it closed today at 31, well, I'd actually be down 10% because I just bought a ton of Neo at $34. And essentially it just happens whereas if you're just stuck buying the shares. And I'm going to make a little bit more in-depth video on this, but that's what a lot of guys like Warren Buffett do. That's what a lot of long-term investors do. What they actually do is just instead of setting a limit price, they just sell puts on the stock. But what I really want to talk about now is the worst case scenario and how you can avoid it. And the biggest thing is that let's say that I had those 34 puts and Neo was dropping heavy, and they expire 2-3 days from now. I'm down a couple $100 and I'm like, I really don't want to buy these Neo options. These Neo shares, I really don't want to, because you have to remember, you are not you don't have an option. You're forced to buy those. So let's just say worst comes to worst, I'm down like $100 and I'm like, I know Neo is going to bounce here. I feel very strong that Neo is going to bounce here. And even if it doesn't bounce here at 34, it's going to bounce down here at 31. So I think there's no way that it's going to, not break this support. I think it's definitely going to, bounce here. But I just don't have enough time, because that's what ends up happening with options in general. Sometimes you don't have enough time. So what you could say is, all right, I got 2 days till close. I'm down a couple $100 or I'm down $100. What I'm going to do is roll my position out. So all this entails is that I would close the position that I have on the $34 puts, which means I am going to buy back the puts that I sold. And what I'm going to do is go out and give myself more time. So I could go out till the next week, which is next Friday, March 19th. And I could go out and I could sell, a $34 put, or I could sell a $30 put if I want to be a little safer. But let's say I want to go out and want to sell that $34 put for next Friday. I can do that. Or I could say, I really need more time. I'm going to go out till March 26th and I'm going to sell a $34 put. This is called rolling out the position. And this is what a lot of investors do, because what happens is it gives you more time. So yes, you will be in the short term down like $100, but by the time the expiration happens, weeks from now, you'll actually probably be even, or if you're lucky, you'll be up more money. You can also do this with spreads. So say you get a put credit spread on NEO. And the thing with put credit spreads is if it closes a penny below your strike, you lose it all. Like with selling puts, you just end up losing, like, you'll be forced to buy shares. But with selling or doing put credit spreads, you're going to lose the entire investment that you put up, which in this case, you might be risking $1,000 to make $200 on NEO. And if NEO is sinking like a rock and it's about to close below $34, you might say, all right, my max loss is 500 and I'm down 200. I don't want to lose another $300, but I know NEO's going to bounce. I don't want to end up, just taking this $200 loss. What you can do is close the put credit spread position, or in general, if you're doing like a call debit spread, you can close the position and then you can retake that position a couple of weeks out or even a couple of months out. And like I said before, while short term, you're still going to eat that loss, you're going to give yourself a longer amount of time so that this way you can make that money back and even make a profit. So that's what is extremely important about understanding options. And you can even do this with straight up calls. So like, let's say you bought some NEO calls when NEO was up here and it was trading at like $47 and the stock plummeted and you're down like 50% on your options and you're like, I know NEO is not going to break 38. So what you could do is, instead of just taking the loss or holding it till expiration, and this is extremely important when you're trading straight options because you have theta that's just killing the position all the time. What you can do instead of that is you could sell the position for a loss, which sucks, but then you can go and buy the same calls for a couple months out, so that this way you're giving yourself more time and you're giving yourself the ability to make that money back. And so rolling positions is extremely important, and it's a huge tool that I like to use when I'm selling puts. So overall, guys, like I said, if you have any questions as far as selling puts are considered, definitely check out the options tab on our channel. I'm going to make a video next week talking more about like how Warren Buffett and how a lot of these people set their, kind of like limit buys, but get paid for doing it really by selling puts on long-term investments. And we're going to talk about that. It does require more money and a lot more time, but it's a powerful tool if you're somebody who has $100,000, $200,000 and you just want to make consistent income. It's actually amazing. So we're going to talk about that. Also, guys, I have a second channel for those of you who know, called Traders Helping Traders. This is based a lot more on actually trading, but I started a Twitter where I post all of my trades after I get out of them, because that's for the private members. I also post a ton of news. I post a ton of flow. I put some free trades out there from time to time. So go and check that out. I'm going to put that in the bio. It's completely free. And if you want to be a part of my private academy, get access to every single trade that I take live every single day, live stream with me like this every single morning for the first hour of market open, get access to our 60-hour course library and our Discord with 557 other members. You use the link down below, use the code Academy90 and start for $10 your first month. Thank you guys for all the support. Have a great weekend. Hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time. Peace.